Meanwhile, Ifeanyi had his own problems. He had recently been involved in negotiations with an oil firm in the Middle East, a deal that was supposed to secure OGE future in that region, but suddenly things were falling apart. His contacts were pulling out, and he couldn't figure out why. Every time Mr. Chike approached the warehouse, his heart pounded. The building stood isolated far from the bustling streets of Lagos, hidden away like a forgotten relic. It was where nightmares were made real, and for Chike, it had become a place where his moral compass shattered bit by bit with every visit.
The first time Mr. Chike returned to the warehouse after his initial betrayal, the drive where it felt like an eternity. His palms were sweaty, his mind racing with thoughts of escape, but the image of his wife, the children tied, beaten, and terrified kept flashing before his eyes. There was no escape, only survivor. The warehouse loomed in front of him, desperate and abandoned. But inside, it was alive with danger. He stepped through the rusty metal door, the sound of his footsteps echoing through the empty corridors. The two men who had first kidnapped him were waiting in the shadows, their faces emotionless. "Boss is expecting you," one of them grunted, his voice as cold as the air around them. Chike swallowed hard and followed him deeper into the building. They led him to the same dimly lit room where the marksman had first made his chilling introduction. The marks figure boss sat at the table, and a glow of a single bulb casting shadows across his face, making him appear even more deadly. He had a glass of whiskey in front of him and a lit cigarette between his fingers, the smoke swizzling lazily in the stale air. "Mr. Chike." The man greeted him without looking up. His voice was smooth like oil slicking across water. "You are right on time. I do appreciate punctuality." Chike's throat was dry. He stood there frozen, unable to move, the weight of his betrayal crushing him from the inside. The marksman motioned to a chair. "Sit," he said, his voice low but commanding. "Let's talk." Chike hesitated for a moment before sitting down, his hand trembling under the table. The marksman leaned forward, his voice barely above a whisper. "Tell me what you've got." Chike took a deep breath. He had spent the past week gathering the information the boss had demanded: financial reports, internal communications, and details about the Okafor family major plans. It had all been meticulously hidden in his briefcase, now resting in his lap like a ticking time bomb. "They're expanding into the energy sector," Chike began, his voice barely above a whisper. "Nkechi has secured a deal with a South African firm. It's going to push their revenue up by over 30% next quarter. They were planning to announce it at the next board meeting." The marksman listened silently, his fingers tapping on the table. He didn't speak, didn't move. Chike couldn't see his eyes behind the marks, but he could feel the intensity of his gaze. "Anything else?" the marksman finally asked, his voice calm. Chike hesitated, his heart pounding in his chest. He had promised himself he wouldn't go too far, wouldn't cross certain lines, but he had no choice. Slowly, he opened the briefcase and slid a sack of documents across the table. "These are internal memos," Chike continued, his voice shaking. "Confidential communication between the family members. They are planning to restructure their real estate division to avoid potential tax liabilities. If this gets out," the marksman's finger closed around the document and a smile beneath his marks. "You are doing well, Chike. Keep this up. And maybe, just maybe, I think your family will survive." Chike stood there, his inside twisting with shame and guilt. He had betrayed the Okafor family in ways he could never undo, And with every visit to the warehouse, the price of his loyalty to the marksman grew heavier. After 2 months later, Chike had leaked sensitive information about the Okafor family upcoming boardroom decisions. The marksman had demanded real-time updates on their internal strategy, particularly a secret deal that would have put the Okafor in a dominant position within Nigeria oil sector. It was the dead of night when Chike once again found himself driving down the dark, wooden road leading to the warehouse. His hand gripped the steering wheel tightly, his jaw clenched. He knew what he had to report today would devastate the Okafor family. If it ever came to light, when he arrived, the warehouse was ominous as ever. The same 2 men waited, guiding him into the back room where the marksman sat, waiting in silence. This time, the atmosphere was even more oppressive, the air thick with tension. Mr. Chike, the marksman, greeted him with a cold smile. I trust you have something valuable for me today. Chike nodded, his stomach encurled. He had spent the last several days sabotaging the Okafor's family oil sector, leaking information to competitors, ensuring that the negotiations would collapse. His betrayal had caused delays, mistrust, and confusion within the family boardroom. He felt sick to the core. They'd be forced to delay the signing of the deal, Chike began. There was an internal memo I intercepted. It outlined the terms of the oil partnership. I passed it to one of their rivals, and now they're reconsidering the offer. The board is in chaos. The marksman leaned back in his chair, his hand resting comfortably on the armrest, satisfied. Excellent! Excellent! This is exactly what I wanted. You are doing well. Chike clenched his fists under the table, fighting back the bell rising in his throat. The Okafor family had trusted him with every aspect of their business, and now he was actively destroying their legacy piece by piece. You will continue to feed me updates, the marksman said, his voice cutting through Chike's thoughts like a knife. Every time they make a move, I want to know. Chike nodded, his mind clouded with guilt and regret. Yes, he whispered, I will continue. The marksman laughter echoed through the dark room, chilling Chike to the bone. Chike left the warehouse after that meeting, the marksman word echoing in his mind. When the family is divided, the empire will crumble. His heart felt heavy. The Okafor family, once united and strong, was now standing on the edge of downfall, all because of him, and every step he took deeper into betrayal seemed to seal his fate and theirs.